Hello, and welcome to our March Patreon project. This one is another knit project. I do promise they're not all going to be knit projects. The reason I'm doing, last month and this month as knit project is spring is coming, and I'm going to be moving on to sewing, and then back in the fall we'll start doing more knitting projects again. And the reason I'm doing another knit project this month is for a very specific reason. I'm dedicating this month to my Grandma Betty. My Grandma Betty her birthday's in March, and this pattern that I'm about to talk about and show you was one of her handwritten patterns that she made probably hundreds of this specific thing as gifts. Recently, my Aunt Sandy was going through her knitting books and knitting supplies and whatnot, and came across, this is a photocopy of it, or a photo of it, but found an original of my grandma's knitting project. She would handwrite out everything. Recipes, knitting projects, you name it, and my Aunt Sandy found it, and the moment that she found this project, this pattern, I knew I had to share it for March on Patreon. I'm going to do a second video talking about my grandma. It's going to be just an ode to Betty. I'm going to, talk about who she is, her history, and how she influenced me. But for this video, we're just going to talk about the pattern. So this pattern is called, or at least what she called it, a wool shoulder scarf. I have called it the Betty shoulder scarf in honor of my grandma. And I'm going to be popping up photos as we go along. And at the end of this post, when I was last month when I did a project, I had the link to the pattern as well, but it seems like when you link it in the original blog post, that gets lost. It's a little small icon at the bottom, and it's really hard to miss. So what I'm going to do is a second post with the pattern, the link to the pattern, the PDF pattern for you. So, and it'll be like very obvious that it's for the pattern. So a little bit about this pattern. I have them off to my side. I'm going to show you a couple that I did up. I also have already done up and sent a few off as gifts. I did take photos. I'm not sure if I'll put them in or not, but we'll see. My Aunt Sandy got one because she found this, so I might ask her if she'll let me put her photo of her wearing it in the video, but we'll see. You may or may not see it. Just saying. So this is a pretty simple knit. You're repeating, there's a bunch of sections in the actual finished products, which you should be able to see here. Again, I'm going to pop up some close-up photos of it. And it's mostly ribbing, knit stitch, and a bit of lace work. It is knit sideways. Let me undo this so I can sort of visually explain that better. So it is knit this way, and it is created using short rows, which I will explain in the PDF you're going to get. In the case of, I'm just going to point this out right now, in the case of the short rows for this, it is not a wrap and turn, it's literally a knit the short row, turn. And the reason for that is there are holes that separate the neckband from the rest of the garment, and those are supposed to be there. That is part of the pattern, and I'll explain in a minute why. So, the other thing that I've done with this pattern is I have made it so that you can wear it 2 different ways, and sort of some fun little extras that you could do if you want to sort of zhuzh it up a little bit. So the first way to wear it, and again I'm going to pop up photos because it's probably easier to see it in a close-up photo than me putting it on, is you're going to create, you could have 2, 3, 4 buttons. I only have 2 on this. And you're going to create button loops, and you're going to put it around your neck and do it up at the back. And then it's going to sit on your shoulders and cover your chest. Now, I grew up in a small town in southern Ontario where winters get extraordinarily cold. Wind chills are horrible, and up where I grew up there was also a lot of snow. I'm in Toronto now, so we don't really get near as much snow as they do. And the reason that her version has it buttoned up at the back is because you want to cover your chest as well. And I'm covering the mic, sorry about that. The reason it's like this is you want to cover your chest as well. It would come down further, I just don't want to cover the mic up. It's an extra layer to protect your chest from the cold. And this style is also a turtleneck, which I know there are a lot of people that do not like turtlenecks or anything tight around their neck. I am number one of those people. I actually made this slightly looser than intended because I would like to be able to wear this when it's really cold to cover my chest. As a matter of fact, I have. And I was toasty warm. I was one of, I don't even know how many she made of this, but I had a sherbet yellow version. And I cherished that thing. I used to get made fun of at school for it, you know, because when you're a kid, you want to be cool and you don't want to be wearing this knit thing that goes under your jacket, especially if it's bright yellow. But I wore that thing all the time. I don't know where it is anymore. It's probably gotten lost in one of my many moves. I've moved around Toronto a lot, so it has gone on a walkabout. I don't know where it is anymore, unfortunately. I wish I still had it. And Grandma would make these for everyone. She probably made hundreds of them. She probably memorized the pattern as well. I mean, by the time I got through all of my samples, I had pretty much memorized most of it. Every once in a while I'd have to look back at my pattern to make sure I wasn't messing up. But, and it's not a pattern you're really going to mess up. This is a very easy pattern to make. You're using 4mm, or depending, if you can also use 4.5mm needles for this, depending how big you want it. Just, know that it is going to affect the width and the length. This pattern will have, I have 2 buttons on here, but there is room for 4, or 2 big buttons, 4 medium buttons, whatever you want. And you're going to make some belt loops so you can button up. This can be knit in DK as well. That was originally how she intended the pattern. If you're going to do DK though, I would suggest you use 4mm. If you're going to use worsted, 4 and 4.5 also work. And medium weight worsted if you're going to do worsted. Or if you can't find DK, because I have a heck of a time finding DK in Toronto, you could do a light worsted. It's up to you. This was more of a light worsted than the next one I'm going to show you. So yeah, so this is a very quick knit. Now I knit fast, so it was quicker for me, but you're going to knock this off in a couple of nights easily. So you can also make a lot of them. And it's knit in sections as well. So the top is a ribbing, sort of, because you're doing a knit row, a purl row. Then the this is a knit and purl, this section, and then there's a bit of lace work at the bottom. And then because of the way you're knitting the rows, it does create like a ridge, which is very, very, very pretty. So this version is, you know, as I said, you put it around and button it at the back. And then the other version I created let me just untie this. Got tangled a bit. You can. I know my hair's in the way. It's a little staticky right now. I don't try not to touch it. You can wear this way. Tie it up at the front with a string. Put some cute little pom-poms on if you want. You can either wear it up or as a collar. And believe it or not, because the length of the bottom, it still overlaps and covers your chest. And you don't even have to wear this under your coat. Let's coat it a little bit here. You can also, if you're at home and it's a little chilly, or if you're in a restaurant and it's a little chilly, or in a movie theater, or wherever, you can just pop this on. Or leave it on after you take your coat off. And it'll keep you warm. Okay. Oh no. The pom-poms keep getting caught. Now my hair is even more frizzy right now. So those are the, I guess technically, 3 ways you could wear it. And coming back to the holes, and I unfortunately gave away, not unfortunately, it was a gift. I gave away I have photos, so I'm going to pop the photos up. But the holes, you can either knit a ribbon in the same color or a contrasting color if you want, and that could be your tie. You could use that because it's going to come out on either end, and you could tie the neck that way. You could put in a ribbon, like a satin ribbon or any kind of ribbon, or lace. Actually, is very beautiful. And you could put that in there as well. And you could either use it as the way to tie it, or you could end it and then sew it in so that it's like not showing. And that is another way to sort of zhuzh it up. And extra bonus, last month's project and this together make a beautiful set. So you can now combine the 2 projects together. The other things you're going to need, you don't need a lot of supplies for this, by the way. You need literally knitting needles in 4mm or 5.5, depending on, and I'll have in the pattern, because I can never remember what the US, UK sizes are. It is listed in the pattern. So don't worry, all that information is there. So you need your yarn, you need your knitting needles, and you're going to need a crochet hook if you are doing the button loops. You will need some crochet hooks. And buttons, of course, and thread to sew on those buttons. But I will have all of that listed in the PDF pattern for the shoulder warmer. Just going to quickly look at my notes here to make sure I didn't miss any information. Yes. I covered it all. Okay, and as I said, the video is going to be separate from the post with the pattern, but they'll be posted together at the same time. So you're going to see 2 posts as this pattern launches for March. And then later in the month, you're going to get a video where I talk about my Grandma Betty. And then as an extra bonus for the month, I'm going to scan in, I didn't bring the book over with me. Anyways, actually the book is going to get shown in the next video, or the video later in the month. But my Grandma Betty, as I had mentioned, or may have not mentioned, I can't remember now, hand wrote everything out, patterns, knitting patterns, recipes, you name it. And my Aunt Margie photocopied, she has all my grandma's original recipes. She photocopied all of them. And she has put a book together for me. And what I'm going to do is, in the video about Grandma, there's a bunch of photos in there as well, so I'm going to show those. It has her history in there. And what I'm going to do is the bonus for the month is I'm going to rewrite, I'll put the originals in as well, the photos of the originals, but I'm going to write out a couple of her recipes. Because I think she would be honored if I were to share some of her recipes, because I gotta tell you, there were certain things that she made that no one could make like her. But she was always happy to share her recipes, like, that was her thing, you know, she never kept anything secret. So, yes, so this is the project, or these are the projects for this month. Sorry, I'm mixing it up again. So we've got the button at the back version and the tie at the front version. Now, a thing that you could do if you want, I didn't end up doing it myself, but it would be very, very easy to do, is if you wanted to turn this into more of a bed jacket, sorry, not this version, but the tie at the front version, could very easily be turned into a bed jacket by extending the middle part, just making it longer. I mean, like, I would, because the middle part is like about 2.5 inches long, so if you made it like 8 inches long or even 10 inches long, then it would come down further on your body and you could use it like a bed jacket. So yes, there is the project for March, and I hope you enjoy making this. If you do make this, please use the hashtag Betty Shoulder Warmer, and let's get knitting. And I'll see you later in the month. Bye-bye!